Welcome to Food Freedom Radio. I'm Laura Hedlund, but I am playing the music from Connections because apparently the AI gods say we can no longer play the music I love to play, and I haven't figured out which music I want to play yet. So if anyone has any trademark-free music, let me know. I actually want to play the song "'Tis a Simp to Be Gift." Anything pre-1926, I guess we can play, but it also needs to be performed in a person that hasn't trademarked it. So I am playing, Food Freedom Radio is temporarily playing Connections music. And also in studio with me right now is the host of Connections, Laurie Fitz.
Happy to be here, Laura. And as folks know who listen to Connections radio show, we talk about ideas that matter. And your Food Freedom Radio always talks about ideas that matter. So I'm delighted to be part of it today.
Right. And food is the cornerstone, and health and well-being is the cornerstone. And one of the things that Food Freedom Radio and Connections share is a optimistic vision of the future. I mean, let's really enjoy life, right?
Absolutely. And let's make the connections to make that happen.
The connections to make that happen for everyone. And very pleased to have in studio today the owners of Mastel's. So Lauren Gaffney and Alina Hornfield, welcome to Food Freedom Radio.
Hey, thank you for having us.
So happy to be here.
Yippee. So Alina, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I came on board at Mastel's in 2017 to work in marketing, social media, because they didn't really have a lot of internet, that social presence at that time. The store has been around since 1968, and like a lot of other small independent health food stores, some of that stuff had just kind of not gotten updated or kind of had been neglected. And so Lauren and I have been really good friends since about 2005. And she had come back from a big conference and said, everyone's asking us about our Instagram. And we don't have really anyone who can do that because they're busy doing all these other jobs at the store. And I was at a transition moment with my son going to kindergarten. And I was like, I love social media. I could do that. I've worked in retail a lot. Why don't I come by and we'll try working together and see how that goes. And 9 years later, here we are, kind of evolved from that position into more retail management with her, and we grew together through the pandemic and all sorts of things, and ended up purchasing the store together from our founder, John Mastel, 3 years ago in March. And so that's kind of how we got to where we are today. But Lauren, started even earlier than I.
Okay, so Lauren, tell me about your background.
So it's been gosh, I think I'm coming up on 25 years at Mastel's. I grew up in Oklahoma City. I came here in 2000 to go to school at McAllister College, which is just about 2 blocks from the store. And in 2002, I needed a job, and my roommate at the time said, "Oh, you should apply at this health food store that I'm working at." And even though I'd been a student on campus for a couple years and the store is very close, I had no idea there was even anything down St. Clair Avenue at the time. So the first time I walked in the store was with my job application. And I still have that application, and I've looked back at it every once in a while. And under reasons why you want to work at Mastel's, I put because small business is important to me. And I would just love to know what 19-year-old me thought she was talking about, but something was there. There was a kernel of something there, and I said, and it's close to my house. So I started there part-time after school, and the rest is history.
Isn't that funny how 25 years and how these little moments can just change your whole life, there's a switch. So let's talk about the history of Mastel's, because it's a beautiful history, and tell us about the owner and...
Yeah, so John started the store in 1968. He was working for the Highway Department, the Minnesota State Highway Department at the time. He, like so many people, their sort of entryway into holistic healing often comes from a personal health crisis, something that you are maybe not finding needs met with conventional methods, and you need something more. So he was in the hospital for several weeks. Somebody gave him a copy of Prevention magazine, which back in the 60s was just about the only thing that you had with sort of this other way of healing presented. That inspired him to... There was a health food store in the Twin Cities at the time called Kale's. I think they were in downtown Minneapolis, but essentially he consigned some product from them put it on the shelf, worked part-time after his day at the highway department. He'd come to the shop. By 1977, he purchased the building that we are in currently, which was just about a mile down St. Clair from where he had originally opened. And so we've been in that building right about St. Clair and Snelling since 1977. Yeah, and he eventually transitioned to working full-time at the store, having staff kind of like I was, part-time, college students, a few people that worked there more consistently during the day doing the buying and things like that. John retired for the most part around 2000. And so when I came on in 2002, he was really just doing kind of one night a week, keeping up with his regular customers. But I think what he started was a sort of it's almost like a consultation model of people coming in with their questions, because when it's your health, it's not really just, it's not as simple as problem, solution. Sometimes, there are multiple solutions. Sometimes the problem is really hard to identify. And so there's a lot of back and forth. And I think John was able to set that up where people felt like they could come in, they could talk, they could get something, they could try it, they could, come back, follow up, how did it work? And it kind of grew, and honestly, that's really at the core of what we still do today. We're just working with people as they're going through, and that doesn't even get into the quality of the supplements. The industry has grown so hugely in the last 50 plus years. And so, yeah, just keeping on top of all of that and staying current has been our mission.
I have a question for you. You're sort of the second generation of bringing up Mastels, and you're women-owned. Tell me about what you bring as a women-owned company and what has grown from the original vision.
We were just talking about this a little bit earlier today, that while John had so much heart and passion for what he did with his knowledge and his intuition when he was working with people, a lot of women really provide the scaffolding for the business, with the buying, with maintaining the store, and some of the more down-to-earth sides of things. And have for a really long time, which has gotten us to a place when people come in and they feel the store is very clean and bright and airy and has a lot of presence to it that is enjoyable. And I think women have brought a lot of that to just the environment that you're in when you're shopping at the store. And then I would say the industry is often kind of women-led in a lot of ways. There's a lot of women in health food stores and co-ops all around the country that are really in that same kind of caretaking role that you'll find them in other professions as well. And the passion is there to be healers and people who are interested in helping others. So a lot of our staff has always been women. And it's just a place that I think people come to for that sense of safety and
Nurture.
Yeah, nurturing.
Yeah, nurturing,
And
caring.
And that education is really key to knowing what to buy.
Oh, very much so. I mean, I think that's really one of our main focus is keeping our staff educated. We do a lot. We've actually had to limit it to just once a month for trainings where we have somebody come in before the store opens. We get all 15 of us down there in the basement, usually with a national educator, and so we can do deep dives on either certain products, certain brands, research that's come out, and then there's educational opportunities throughout, each month for people to do. And it serves us. We are, a lot of us, just extremely passionate and just want to learn. We'll often say when we're interviewing somebody that, there is downtime on the sales floor, but a lot of that downtime, you're kind of still just learning about all this stuff. I mean, it is an infinitely expansive subject, I guess, to learn and research and do deep dives on, and that's really what a lot of people there just love doing. So you can just kind of geek out about supplements with your coworkers as a bonus.
And the rest of the show, we're going to be geeking out a little bit and talking about specific issues that people can address with supplements. But I also want to get in this broader idea of everybody's different, and learning to be your own, I don't know if I want to use the word doctor, but learning to be the expert of your own body.
Your health advocate?
Your health advocate.
I like health advocate because I think that we do have to advocate for ourselves and for our health. You know your body the best. You're the one living in it every day. And We also really do spend a lot of time encouraging people to go to their doctors, follow up with your doctors, maybe put some pressure on your doctors if you're not feeling like a need is being met, or if you feel like you'd like something to have consideration given to. We try to arm folks with knowledge and with education so that they can say, but there are clinical, no, I've not gone to medical school, and I trust my doctors that have, and that is important to us.
But you do offer complimentary.
We do,
And being able to work with doctors.
and I think that they both have really good areas that they're successful. Quite frankly, there's so much that we can't even come close to doing what doctors can do. But there's also a lot that happens that's a little less tangible, that's a little more kind of whole body, big picture things that are very acutely focused. Western medical system doesn't have all the best tools. They're getting there, though. That's the thing, is the research.
It is fun.
On herbal medicine specifically, the research, into supplements is just growing and growing and growing. And as those things, and to be honest, as there's more money behind that, they can start doing the double-blind clinical trials. They can start, somebody has to see, unfortunately, a dollar sign at the end of some of this stuff to invest and get the research done. But as that's happening with the wellness industry type of things, we're just bolstered by the research that comes out.
And we're really lucky that we have a lot of people in our community, doctors, nurse practitioners, other practitioners that send people our way where they realize that they maybe don't have a full, picture of what supplements are high quality, where to get them from. So they say, just go to Mastel's. You need a B vitamin, you need CoQ10, you need a vitamin D. Just go there. Here's your list, and they'll take care of it from there. They will handle it. And so often we have people coming in from their doctors. They're getting their diagnosed with the doctors, and they're coming to see us.
Yeah, you're Minnesota's health experts. Minnesota. So you're listening to Food Freedom Radio. I am playing music from Connections because the AI gods say that we have to change our music, and I have kind of not adapted to that fully, so I'm just going to borrow Laurie's music while I'm adapting to that. We're talking all things natural health, and in studio with me are the owners of Mastel's, Alina Hornfield and Lauren Gaffney. Also joining me is the co-host, or the host of Connections Radio, Laurie Fitz. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome to Food Freedom Radio. I'm Laura Hedlund, and in studio with me is Laurie Fitz, who also hosts Connections Radio, and also the owners of Mastel's, Lauren Gaffney and Alina Hornfield. Now, Mastel's a beautiful little store, and there's also some local food in there. So I want you guys, if someone's never visited Mastel's, walk us into the store because it's a beautiful place.
Sure. I think probably the first thing, health food store is in the name, and in 1968 we did carry more food. There weren't nearly the amount of vitamins and supplements on the market, so we did have more food. The co-ops started coming up around in the 70s, and, they really handled the bulk of the natural foods available in our area. However, we do still carry the Larry Schultz eggs. And for years and years, when I started, it was actually Helen, the Schultz's mom. She kept a small flock down near the farms in Owatonna, and she would drive the eggs up every week. And she would stand there, and I do not joke. She sometimes just had a few feathers still stuck to her, and she was really funny. And she'd just say, "I'm the egg lady," and we would pay her cash out of the register for that week's egg order. And over the years, we sell more eggs than we sell anything else in the store. And in 2026, we have kept them less than $5 a dozen, which is difficult, but it's important for us. We're still known, especially for our hyper-local neighbors, where they can come in and they can get the really, really, really good eggs. We did just bring in another brand of pasture-raised eggs that are a little bit more expensive, but compared to what I've seen at other places, we still have an incredibly good price on eggs. Otherwise, for food, we try to stock. We were one of the first places that I saw that you could get the really good Peterson ground beef. They were mostly in restaurant supply at that point. I do see them in retail now a little bit more. But we've been able to pick up, sometimes just little brands here and there.
Ferndale turkeys there? They've been
Exactly,
a partner of ours?
the turkey chubs. Something that's nice about being an independent store is really for any food type or any brand, really you just have to convince us right here. You're looking at the C-suite, the executive board,
The decision makers.
The decision makers, and a place like Whole Foods, they might only review a category once every 2 years. So if you're trying to get your product onto Whole Foods, which is obviously a much bigger client for you, but as a maker, it's such it's huge. Distribution is really hard. We're independent. We're small. If you're willing to sell us just one case of something, we'll buy it. We'll see if it works. If eventually you get into distribution and you grow as a brand, that's wonderful. But we've been the first shelf spot for so many local brands, and this is in food and in personal care, soaps and lotions. Found somebody at a craft fair and said, hey, did you ever think about selling your stuff at a store? And oh, okay. And we've worked out those contracts, and some of those companies have gone on to be really big. And so we just like that idea that we're small. If you're willing to work with a small company, we'll never probably be your biggest account, but we like to be able to have that opportunity for makers.
This makes my heart sing. And I think there is a connection between this and women, but we need to lift up a local economy, especially today.
Big time.
And it's also the nurturing that we talked about in the first segment. It's nurturing not only your customers, it's nurturing who you buy from. It's creating partnerships. It's creating collaboration that allows everyone to flourish. Because when you invest in your own town and it's not necessarily going to another state, it helps the economy of where you live. And eggs, of course, I'm very partial to having a little hobby farm and going to getting my flock back. They do taste better, as well as being better for you.
They really do. It kind of ruined me for conventional eggs, I'm not going to lie.
Well, it's better for soil and water. It's better for everything. And so let's talk about supplements. Now, and it's interesting. So this, Mastel's was founded in 1968. So what was the terrain like in 1968?
I would say you definitely saw kind of some of the cliched things that have now become so popular, you just take them for granted. So wheatgrass,
Yep, the wheat germ, wheatgrass, oat bran.
all those kinds of ingredient type things that were really hard to find back then. Now you can find, even at Target probably, or Cub, it's become so mainstream. One of my favorite stories is they talked about Mastel's having thousands of books at one point because there was pre-internet. Where would you go to learn about natural options? Where would you go to expand your knowledge base? And where would you gather with people to share what you've learned and your experiences? And Mastel's was really a hub that way. And that's where some of that deep knowledge is rooted, is that, now everyone just Googles or goes on their chatbot AI programs, it's all there at the, your fingertips, but back then you really had to find a spot that you could go to. And so it's evolved over the years from, health food products to books to now our main supplement focus. And that if you do learn about something online, you can come and work one-on-one with one of our staff members that's going to say, that's kind of a trendy thing. It's fun. It's great, but maybe not going to solve what you're, dealing with right now. This other less glamorous thing has better research for that. But, some people are into it as a hobby. Some people are, we say first stop or last stop, with a serious issue that they would like to avoid conventional medical treatment, to start. And then some people have tried everything from their doctor and nothing's worked. And so they're coming as a last resort to come try something from Mastel's.
And you mentioned going to the internet. Not always reliable.
No, and we see a lot of fraud on online retailers, which is really scary out there. It's one thing if you accidentally buy, a fake object and it's, a different brand or it's not what you thought it would be. Something you're putting in your body or on your body, that's scary stuff. That can be really toxic to you and potentially harmful. So we see on Amazon and other retailers a lot of fraud. Now Foods, we were just talking about, does a lot of great independent testing in their lab. They're one of our supplement companies from Chicago, family owned. we've had them since 1968.
They started in 1968, same like
Good
us.
year.
Yeah. And I think, Lauren, you were just saying you saw one yesterday that they did.
Yeah, they took this one was on lavender oil. So they'll go out on Amazon and they'll pick a category. They've done lavender oil, they did oregano, they've done I think CoQ10, and they'll buy 30 different brands on Amazon. Just random brands, and they'll take them. They have an incredible in-house testing laboratory, and they'll run those supplements through their equipment, and they publish the results free and available to anybody. And so you can look and see, and they name the brand. So, XDX brand of lavender oil. Well, when we spun it through our mass spectrum chromatography or whatever the things they were doing, that actually flagged a lot more like a mineral oil product with some artificial synthetic things that are making your nose think it might be lavender, but chemically it's different, and so you're not going to get the same phytochemical response in the body if those constituents aren't in the product. So maybe you did get a great price on it, or it got to your house the next day, but
If it's not going to be useful.
if it's not, what's on the label's not in the bottle, bad news.
Well, and this is, we're going to take a break soon, but I want to make sure we save a lot of time about talking about particular health things, but how do we have trust? And I remember one time I was thinking, I deserve to live in a trust economy. And I thought, that's kind of a crazy thought, trust economy. But then I looked at my dog. I expect my dog to trust, right? Mm-hmm. But the sad thing of the economic market and the dominant patterns in our society is there are people that are just feeding out of money, and whatever can make money is what I need to feed. And so how do we not only compete with that, but how do we lift up, and maybe not even try to compete with that, but how do I really exercise trust? And I think that is so important.
Supporting
Trust.
ethics.
Supporting ethics and integrity and truth and whole type things. So
And perhaps holding some people accountable if they're not.
that would be kind of
important.
nice.
Yeah. But celebrating those who do. And I think that's really key.
And I think we have that opportunity when I say that we have the choice of the companies that we work with. We are able to prioritize companies that hold our same values, and we choose not to do business with companies that don't have our same values. You will not find any. Nestle's probably the biggest one, and they are buying up our industry left and right, and as they acquire companies, and it's been some of our best sellers, we have let those brands go because we've seen and it does not take long for that upper management, upper level when it changes, when that VC money and private equity money comes in, it is astonishing how quickly you start to see the corners be cut. And so we have had the good fortune and opportunity to continue to work with brands that support their brick and mortar stores, because our customers trust us. We have to have supplements that we feel like are worthy for our shelves, and so we find those brands to work with.
Love it. So you're listening to Food Freedom Radio. We're talking with the owners of Mastel's, Lauren Gaffney, Alina Hornfield, and Laurie Fitz is also joining me in studio, and I'm using Laurie's music because we're not allowed to use our music anymore. AI God said you can't use the music anymore, even though technically a radio station can use the music, but apparently they can't figure it out. So I have to play with music. So if anyone knows any copyright-free music that I can play, send it my way. You're listening to Food Freedom Radio on AM 950. We'll be right back. Welcome to Food Freedom Radio. I'm Laura Hedlund, and I'm borrowing Connections music because I haven't figured it out. Now the AI gods say I can no longer play my music, so I have to adjust, go with the flow. But I'm very pleased to have in studio today the owners of Mastel's, Lauren Gaffney and Alina Hornfield. Also, Laurie Fitz is helping me out with this show. And so again, let's set the stage of to where Mastel's is located, and let's talk about some specific health issues. But walk us into the area.
Oh, yeah. So Mastel's is in St. Paul, 1526 St. Clair Avenue, just one block east of Snelling on St. Clair, really close to McAllister College is kind of the landmark that most people know. And we are just a little tiny, literally brick and mortar, 800 square foot store with over 5,000 different individual items. So those little supplement bottles, you can squeeze a lot into 800 square feet. So when you come in, it should be really welcoming. We have a lot of people on staff for such a tiny space, and that's so that you can get that one-on-one service anytime that you would like it. We'll leave you alone if you want to just look around. If you know what you're looking for, that's great. But oftentimes people are definitely coming to work one-on-one, and we want to make sure you get that time. We don't want you to feel rushed. We want you to be able to ask all the questions you have. Let us ask you questions. What's been working for you? What hasn't worked for you? All of those kinds of things. So you'll definitely get somebody that can really focus on you while you're in the store.
And so the staff are knowledgeable. These are very knowledgeable people. And you've been in business for well over 50 years.
Mm-hmm. And we've had a lot of staff. We have somebody coming up on their 30th anniversary working for us. And prior to that, she had her own store for 25 years in Ithaca, New York. So she's got as much experience, well longer than I've even been alive. And we've had several people who have stayed, leaving and coming back. We kind of joke sometimes, I left and came back for a while. It brings you back. And so that continuity and having folks that have been there for a long time, along with our longtime customers, we've really been able to build some relationships and just develop that trust with people. And it helps us because as we're working with somebody and they're taking supplements and trying things and coming back and giving us their feedback, we can then turn to the next person and say, somebody else tried this and they really found relief. Maybe it'll work for you too. So we're able to sort of disseminate that knowledge things we learned from our customers. Getting that real life experience back is really valuable. And so it benefits everybody when we can foster those relationships with the time and consideration.
If I were to come into your store as a customer, and I'm like, I don't know a whole lot about supplements, but I know women's health is really important, and I get my friends telling me that women's health should be looked at in terms of supplements. What sort of things would I be experienced coming into your store with that?
We have everything organized, but what we call structure function sets. So we'll bring you to a specific area of the store. So women's health is all together, and that ranges from period products to supplements to topicals, all in that area that are all related to women's health. We also do have a men's health section as well. And, there has been a lot of talk lately about hormone replacement therapy, that for a long time it wasn't studied after a certain study came out maybe 30 years ago.
Right around when I started, around 2000.
And that was sort of saying that it could be really harmful and dangerous. So no doctors were prescribing any hormone replacement therapy at that time and for a long time after that. And so a lot of women still needed relief to get sleep or deal with hot flashes, especially at that perimenopausal time. And so natural remedies, we see a lot of people coming in for maca, black cohosh, there's
Vitex, progesterone creams,
others,
those types of things, because that was all that they had access to because they weren't getting the prescription HRT. But in the last few years, they looked at those studies again and they said, oh, well, that risk that we were trying to avoid really was only demonstrated primarily in women 60 and older. Mm-hmm. We're more talking to the women starting in their late 30s and to their 40s. And so we're seeing the medical landscape has changed a lot around the conversation in women's health. But all of those things that they had for the last 20 years to get through parts of the change are still there, and we're finding they can work in conjunction with hormone replacement therapy. But for the most part, it really is just trying to listen to women and hear them and acknowledge their symptoms, which, depending on your doctor and your experience with your practitioner, can be really difficult just to be validated. Like, this is happening to you. We might not know why. We might not know exactly how to fix it today, but we hear you.
Mm-hmm. And you're partnering.
And we hear a lot of women, generationally things have changed where it was something sort of hush-hush, menstruation was hush-hush, menopause was hush-hush. You just deal with it. You keep quiet, and just do whatever you have to do to get through it, but don't bother people with it. And I think younger women and women our age in our 40s, as they're coming into this, are like, no, I don't want to be quiet about it. I want to talk to people about it. I'm not going to be shy about it. I'm not embarrassed by this. This is my body. It's okay. And we definitely support that, you can come to Mastel's and talk about stuff that's quote unquote embarrassing or private. And we are frank and clear and easy to talk to about that stuff, and it's not going to feel awkward, even if it's maybe a little bit of a hesitation on your part. That's okay. We're here to support you and hear you, and what you're experiencing is true for you.
I'm coming in.
And I know you wanted to talk about minerals, so soil and minerals.
So that's something that, we hear a lot, like, well, I just want to get everything from my food. I don't take vitamins or supplements. I just want to get it all from my food. Love that. Really, really wonderful way to look at it, and looking at your diet and your lifestyle, things like that. There are certain things in the 21st century that it's very, very, very difficult to get from your food. And the one that I bring up a lot because it is such an issue for people is minerals. Vitamins, plants can create vitamins via photosynthesis through the sun, different things like that. They can create vitamins. The minerals are rocks. They have to be in the soil for them to end up in your fruit or vegetable. If as we are now, a few generations into farming the same land, if those minerals have not been put back into the soil, they are not magically appearing, in your dark leafy greens, even though those things are typically high in magnesium, say, for instance, or the trace minerals. If they weren't in the soil, they're not coming out in the food. And so mineral supplementation is something that we see people having an extremely positive reaction to very, very quickly. Magnesium is the one that most people have heard of, very difficult to get in your diet, involved in, I think it's over 450 different reactions that happen in the body require magnesium to kick that reaction off. A lot to do in your muscles, a lot to do in your heart. People like to take it at night because your body needs magnesium to flex muscles. It also needs magnesium to let those muscles relax. And if you've had a little bit in your system, you used it all up in the flexing, and you can't get to that relaxing. And so when you have enough magnesium in your system, you can have all those biological processes happening smoothly. Trace minerals is the other one. So as this was all ancient seabed, we had those minerals that are present in ocean water were in our food. That's what people call electrolytes now. It's the spark that your body uses to run. If you don't have those trace minerals, it's a lot of cascading health things can happen because you're literally missing that spark. Those are extremely easy to take. Remineralizing your water, it doesn't taste like much, honestly. Sometimes it tastes really good depending on how deficient you are. Our bodies evolved to want to taste the minerals that we need. And so sometimes when people first supplement with trace minerals, they're like, oh, wow, this is delicious. You're very low in that case.
Because I needed that.
Truly, once you get up, they start getting a little bit bitter, and then you're good, right? So your body gives you that feedback. But yeah, so the minerals, it is, unless you're eating sea vegetables pretty much every day, it's very, very difficult to get some of those components in your diet, and that's where supplementation really does become necessary.
Learning to listen to your body is really important, especially now when we've had so many changes in the last very short time geologically to all of our systems, right? The soil is depleted, so learning to listen to your body.
I'm really big on telling customers, and I'm not very good in practicing this myself, but it's always a great idea to keep a journal, especially when you start a new supplement from us. Keep track of, especially when we talk about sleep and other things, like how you're feeling when you've started this, what lifestyle things are coming into play. If you can do it, on your phone. Sometimes there's, trackers now that people wear, or rings and Apple Watches have features where you can track some of those things when you add in a supplement, or just a pen and paper to listen to yourself, but also have a record of what you're hearing, because sometimes you doubt yourself, or you can't remember, or did I start that then? So a journal is always a great way to keep yourself accountable to yourself that way too.
What supplements are good for sleep?
There's actually a lot, and it kind of depends on what track. So a lot of people have taken melatonin. That's a really common one that is pretty cheap and easy to find. So that's usually where people start. Some people have really great results, and they just stop right there, and they just use a little bit of melatonin every night, and it's really successful for them, and that's great. Other people don't like the sensation they get with melatonin. They get like maybe a melatonin hangover. They feel kind of drowsy or sleepy in the morning. They don't like that. Or if it just doesn't work for whatever reason. There is herbs and different blends that we have in our sets. Different minerals. Magnesium is another one people often start with. And so that's when we start working with you one-on-one. What have you already tried?
Right. So the sleep section is at least 4 or 5 shelves deep. And I will say that's because there really isn't a silver bullet. If there were, that would be the only thing on the shelf, and everybody would take it, and we'd be good to go. But we know that sleep is a multi-layered thing. Oftentimes, what I've found in talking to people standing in the aisles, when we can have a little bit of a longer conversation, there's that phenomenon of being too tired to sleep, and I find that comes up a lot in folks dealing in times of stress in their life when they're adrenally exhausted. Your adrenal glands get very, very taxed in times of physical and mental stress, such that sometimes by supporting your adrenals, which you would think gives you energy, because that's kind of what it's doing. You're taking either actual bovine adrenal extract, or you're taking adaptogenic herbs like ashwagandha. You're building your adrenals up. That's actually allowing the rest of your systems to function. So even if that supplement happened to give you energy, it's also allowing your sleep system to take over at night and allow you to fully fall asleep. And so it's not a real direct way to sleep, but a lot of times supporting your adrenals can result in a more complete, deeper sleep.
I know that I take the magnesium, and that I like it. It gives me just enough. I took the melatonin a long time ago when it first was getting popular. I could not wake up. It was at a conference, and I was struggling the whole time to try and wake up. My husband takes part of melatonin. Our daughter takes part of melatonin. Loves it.
Yeah.
Just can't get
And
enough.
our chemistries, we're different.
Yeah.
There really isn't a lot of silver bullet solutions, because we're just our physical chemistry, our guts, our microbiomes in our guts. As they learn more about those, we know like how unique we really all are.
We're all unique. There's not one size that fits all. And let's lift up that local trust economy. You're listening to Food Freedom Radio, and with me are the owners of Mastel's, Lauren Gaffney and Alina Hornfield. Also joining me is Laurie Fitz, who hosts Connections Radio on AM 950, and I'm temporarily using her music because the AI guys say I can't use my old music. But anyhow, you're listening to Food Freedom Radio. I'm Laura Hedlund. We'll be right back for our last segment. Welcome back to Food Freedom Radio. I'm Laura Hedlund, and very pleased to have in studio with us the owners of Mastel's, which has been in business since 1968. It's a charming little store, 800 square foot store near McAllister College in St. Paul. The owners are Lauren Gaffney and Alina Hornfield. And with me also in studio is Laurie Fitz, host of Connections. And so we only have a few minutes left. I want to, again, offer a time to just share the story of Mastel's and what people find when they get in there. You have a lot of, you're the health experts.
Yeah, Minnesota's oldest health food store. We're kind of like the wellness department of a Whole Foods or the Co-op, but with the volume turned up. So that's what you're going to find is the wellness section with a lot more variety, a lot more choices. We also do a lot of special ordering. So if there's something really rare and hard to find, we do try to have a lot of those things on the shelf, but we can also special order. We have big categories for homeopathy, traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic products. So lots of options for anything that you could be looking for. And if we don't have it, we're going to definitely try and help you find it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's one of the things we like doing is a challenge, a deep dive, and how to source a remedy for somebody, but if it's and if we can't get it, ultimately, explaining why, like we're with you on that journey to find the supplements that you're looking for.
And sometimes people see something online, they'll say, do you have this? And we'll look at it with them and sort of go over the pros and cons and say, well, we have something similar. It's maybe not as cute of packaging, but it's going to do the same job. Or, wow, that's a lot of a little tiny bit of an ingredient in a bottle with a really, really high price tag. Like we would, it doesn't feel, we wouldn't carry it. It wouldn't meet our standards because we feel like we're ripping you off. And, we really try to avoid that idea that we're selling products that wouldn't work or wouldn't be beneficial or prey on people's fears. That trust part is so important. We're always going to stand by what we bring in, and what we could always answer why. Why did you bring in that product over this one? We've got an answer for each one.
Yeah, and the pricing structure has actually a lot to do with that. We see, there is a high price point for quality supplements. Fact of the matter. But there are also high price points on a lot of less than quality supplements, or things like Alina said, that have a really flashy label or really great marketing and a lot of sponsorships and endorsements and influencers talking about them. But at the end of the day, you're on the hook for a $75 subscription of a multivitamin that I've got for $29.99 on my shelf. So we try to walk people through when they're seeing those things and say, look, if it doesn't have to be that brand, or if it doesn't, if you would want to try something here, we've got a tried and true tested supplement, for example, that has worked for people. And also when you buy it from a store, you have a place to go back and ask questions, right? Like you can follow up with us. Say, I've been taking this from you and I'm having this reaction. And, in some cases that might not have been the right thing for you to try. And so we'll try something else. But trying to keep our pricing as fair and equitable as possible. We run a loyalty program, which I think the vast majority of our customers take advantage of. It used to be a little punch card, every $10 you get a punch, and when it's full, $200 you get a 15% off discount. We during 5 or 6 years ago, we switched. We still run the punch card system, but we have a parallel phone number system. You get $1 a point, and at $200 you get 15% off anything that's not already on sale. The only problem with that system is so many of our supplements are on sale. We negotiate deals. We, again, being small and independent, we might not be able to bring in the biggest volume, but we'll say, to a vendor, look, if we get this, can we get a 20% discount for you for the next month or 6 months? And then we just pass it on. So you guys get the 20% off, and we've done all that, and you don't have to subscribe, and you don't have to, get
the
committed.
Packaging and
with the right. You can just come in and get it. We've done that price negotiation for you.
I noticed that on your website, that you actually list which ones are on sale, which I think is kind of fun. Mm-hmm. And I do want to encourage, since I'm a guest here on Food Freedom Radio, I have now been encouraged to come into your store, and I want to encourage the audience to think about coming in and being able to have that conversation. It starts with a conversation. It starts with curiosity. And then to have a group of people that care about you and that want you to be your best healthy self is very comforting and very nurturing, like we talked about in the first segment. So all our good listeners out there, AM 950, this is a good place to go to, and I'm looking forward to seeing you there.
Yeah, and I appreciate you guys being on. And so it's Mastel's Health Food, Lauren Gaffney and Alina Hornfield. Our last 45 seconds. Anything else you'd like to say? Your website name?
Mastels.com.
Ooh.
Easy peasy.
Mastels.
Yeah.
In business
Yeah.
since 1968. 68
Can't wait
was a
to
good
see.
time.
Can't wait to see folks in the store. Yeah.
First,
And come in with your ideas. Come in with what you've been thinking about. Nothing's off the list of things that can be talked about with your health. Be an advocate for your health and do something for you, and go into Mastel's.
trust your gut. Trust your gut. So, again, thank you. And thank you for listening to Food Freedom Radio. And have a great weekend.